The Entire History of Trains, I guess, by Amtrak Guy 365. Let's check it out.
The year is...
Should I go back and see what that text said? The History of Trains, I guess. Let me, go forward a couple frames. Based on the works of Bill Wirtz. Okay. Credit to Bill.
The year is... Definitely not 2024. Where? I don't know. Anywhere, really. People and goods are getting around using horses, ships, and their feet, but they're slow. Very slow. The Greeks carved out a grooved trackway to transport boats on land with carts. It's almost like a railroad track, said someone from the future. A guy called the hero of Alexandria then discovered steam power. By heating up water, he generated steam to flow through pipes and make a ball spin. It was revolutionary, but some merely saw it as a toy with no practical purpose.
How little they knew. I feel like when most people hear steam engine, they automatically think the trains that were powered by steam, which isn't unreasonable, to be fair. The steam locomotive was the most widely implemented use of the steam engine, as far as I'm aware. But the steam engine was a lot more. I didn't know this until recently. There existed, like, steam power cars, almost. They look nothing like cars, but that's just the best description I can think of to describe them off the top of my head. Anyway.
Much later, the Germans realized that using timber rails could speed up the movement of wheelbarrows and mine carts over muddy terrain in the mines.
Flooding could be a problem.
That sucks. Sick of floods in your mine? Try out Geronimo's steam-powered water pump, keeping your mines dry since 1606.
I did not know a steam water pump ever existed. We really are learning. That's actually really cool.
Then Thomas Avery did the same thing, except more British. But the world was still too slow. I want to get from here to there and faster. But how?
Industrial Revolution. What's that?
A revolution? Oh, it's the Industrial Revolution from Great Britain, and it's probably about to change the world. Inventors started thinking, well, those steam pumps were pretty cool, but what if I could make things move with steam? Using pipes, pistons, and valve gear, wheels could be turned by way of steam pressure created by boiling water in a boiler with wood or coal in a firebox. Experimental self-propelled steam vehicles started popping up here and there. Now let's meet Richard Trevithick. He created the Puffing Devil road locomotive. Does it ride on rails? No, but it was the first to use high-pressure steam.
See? That's the kind of thing I was trying to mention earlier. One thing from this video that I already knew. How about that?
After a successful run, Trevithick and his friends went to the pub and then the engine exploded. After that kerfuffle, his
Probably not a good way to get investors on the project.
Penny Darren locomotive made the first ever steam-powered railway journey on tracks in 1804.
I remember something. The first use of, like, a steam engine that was transporting people was, like, it was an amusement ride of sorts, I think, originally. You know what? He's probably about to confirm that.
It broke the iron rails it rode on, but this was still a big step.
Never mind. Okay, feel free to fact check me in the comments, because I don't think we're going to talk about it here anyway.
1804. It broke the iron rails it rode on, but this was still a big step forward, leading to the Salamanca becoming the first steam locomotive to work for more than 5 seconds. George Stephenson and his son Robert said,
"Now watch this drive,"
and opened the Stockton and Darlington Railway, becoming the first public passenger and freight hauling railway to use steam locomotives. Uh-oh, the Liverpool and Manchester Railway is about to open, but what are they going to use as power? They decided to have a competition to see which locomotive had the best speed and power.
Okay.
Get ready, set, go! They all broke except the Rocket, as it reached a neck-breaking speed of 30 miles an hour. So the Stephensons were selected to build locomotives for the L&M, who went on to pioneer double-track main lines, signals, timetables, and carrying mail by rail. Meanwhile, in Hoboken, New Jersey, John Stevens built the first American steam locomotive and railroad to show Americans how cool trains were. It was a half-mile loop in his backyard.
It's still cool. It's still cool. I don't care.
Yup, that's a stone. Specifically the first stone of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, the first common carrier railroad in the United States. There goes the Stourbridge Lion. It broke the tracks. Hey, it's the Tom Thumb. Broke after racing a horse. Okay, how about the best friend of Charleston?
Seriously?
Yeah, there's still some kinks to work out. Robert Davidson
So
built
it
the
would
first
seem.
electric locomotive, but it kinda sucks and was destroyed by steam locomotive crews. Nations across the world
I mean, par for the course, the first of anything is almost guaranteed to suck.
began having their baby's first railway moment, especially in Great Britain, but they couldn't figure out which track gauge to use. People were finally seeing the value in railways moving people and freight at faster speeds and higher quantities than a horse could, but canal owners didn't. You're taking our jobs! May the devil curse your wretched machine! Okay. Then the two realized they could work together. As more
Hey, there
trains
we go.
popped into the world, that meant more boiler explosions, derailments, and pandemonium amongst the general public. Critics thought railways would cause farm animals to go insane, women would melt, traveling at the high speed of 30 miles per hour would surely mean death, and the power of trains could be challenging God himself. Well,
Ha.
God didn't have much to say on the matter, so people kept building trains. Trains got drafted into the military.
I gotta hear that one more time.
And the power of trains could be challenging God himself.
Okay, I think he's just, for some reason I thought he was being serious for a second. Like people might have actually been saying something along these lines, but no.
Well, God didn't have much to say on the matter, so people kept building trains. Trains got drafted into the military when Prussia started using them to move troops. Are you too lazy to build a bridge? Use a train ferry instead and let the steamship do all the work.
Oh,
Britain puts trains in
interesting.
India to surely benefit the Indian people. The Australian colonies start building railways, but just like Big Brother Britain, can't figure out which gauge to use. Their lead engineer said, let's use the Irish gauge. Then he left after his paycheck got cut, and then the second guy said, let's use standard gauge. Brother Britain sent a letter saying, hey, you guys should probably just use one track gauge. But the message took forever to arrive, and later the other colonies started using Cape gauge. Surely this won't cause future problems. London is getting so crowded they built an underground railway and basically popularized the subway and rapid transit to move a lot of people really fast.
So the subway's origin is in Russia.
The Americans are killing each other and using rail-mounted cannons. Union troops also
I saw one of the. Oh, hey. No, wait. Actually, this might be a different movie. I was about to say those that cannon thing.
the
Let me pull it
Americans
up
are
again.
killing each other and using rail
That cannon. I recognize it from Buster Keaton's The General. That's a good movie, and it's public domain. Check it out.
mounted cannons. Union troops also stole a Confederate locomotive, said nana nana boo boo, and the Confederates chased them
Oh,
on
yep,
foot
that's
and
it.
then in a
Wait, hold on. Great Locomotive Chase? This isn't the same movie, is it? Okay, this clip right here, this is definitely Buster Keaton's The General, isn't it?
Confederates chased
Yeah, that's him. That's Buster Keaton. Was the movie called The General? Am I losing my mind? No, the movie's called The General. I don't know. Maybe there's two separate movies or something. Whatever.
said nana nana boo boo, and the Confederates chased them on foot and then in a locomotive. After the North and South reunite, they manifest their destiny by killing the natives, taking their land, and placing down some trains. The tribes fought back by derailing the Iron Horse, except the Pawnee, who welcomed the railroad. At Promontory Summit, Utah, the first American transcontinental railroad was completed and they took a gangster picture together. Trains suck at climbing hills, but not anymore with the Rack Railway. Hey, pull my finger. Just kidding, that's an air brake lever made by George Westinghouse to stop brakemen from dying on top of a moving train while screwing on handbrakes. Over in
Good
China,
invention.
a British merchant built a demonstration railway, but the Qing government said, dude, are you insane? This is gonna scare everyone. And made him dismantle
Really?
the line for promoting bad vibes. The Japanese decided they wanted to learn how to build railroads and hired foreigners to help, but then said get the hell out once they were done. Wanna go up the big hills of San Francisco? Take the new cable car. Cable in the road, passenger in the car. Back in China, the British and Americans started building a road, and by road I mean railroad, and when the government found out the Westerners lied, they said, dude, stop. Stop it. Can you please stop building the... And the British completed their railway and made bank off it, until China had it dismantled a year later. Werner von Siemens said, hey, what's up? I'm gonna build an electric locomotive.
This
And
was
he
tried
did.
once.
It was a wood block on wheels with a motor, but it worked, and people were amazed at the sight of a smokeless locomotive.
Hey, he got it right.
Hey, don't touch the track. Do you want to get electrocuted? Because Berlin just opened the first electric tramway. It created an electric current from the steel rails through the wheels and into the motor. No more stinky horse required. Would you like to go to
Unless the horse steps on the rail and gets electrocuted. Was there any kind of preventive measures for that? Or were the horse riders just expected to keep the horses away from the track? Probably the latter.
Paris to Constantinople in style? Hop on the Orient Express, hosting sleeping cars and exquisite
Wasn't there a book called, like, Murder on the Orient Express?
The US and Canada got fed up with trains running into each other and got federal time zones instated to simplify timetables.
Is that where time zones came from?
Europe is hungry for a piece of African pie, and by piece I mean the whole continent, and put a bunch of trains there to extract natural resources while quelling the natives. Canada just finished their first long-ass transcontinental railway, and America said, "Damn it, I built a fifth one?" Well, a train just crashed through a station in Paris, and the Americans slammed two locomotives into each other head-on, cause why not, and accidentally killed two people. Oops. But hey, electric locomotives are finally making a name for themselves.
Cool. How relaxing. Is this like going to be an ad read?
Now it's the 20th century and
never
locomotives are
mind.
getting bigger, better, faster, and stronger. Bigger boilers and fireboxes meant more power, and bigger wheels provided faster speeds. Over in Germany, Eugen Langen looked at a railroad track and said, "Pfft, 2 rails are overrated, and you know what? We're going airborne," and created the Wuppertal Suspension Railway, an early monorail.
Nice.
Okay,
I want to take a closer look at that. See, this video is presenting everything like really fast, rapid fire, because it's titled The History of Trains. Like, he's trying to go over everything. But a lot of this stuff I would really love to see a deeper dive into. Like this in particular, I'd love to see some kind of documentary on this thing, because this is pretty nuts. Nuts for the time, I mean. Everybody got accustomed to having 2 rails on the ground. Now all of a sudden to see a train in the air? Obviously there's going to be quite a bit more to this story. I'd definitely be interested in looking more into this stuff.
Suspension Railway, an early monorail. Okay, what the hell is this? The Ford Motor Company just dropped the Model T automobile. It's probably just a passing fad. I mean, come on. Do you really think this thing is gonna compete with trains? Have you seen how fast they go now? The
They are
Sultan
fast.
of the Ottoman Empire
But they can't go as many places. They are always going to be stuck on the rails. The Model T can go anywhere it wants. Until, like, road laws and all that kind of stuff. Anyway.
ordered the construction of a railway to link Damascus with the holy Muslim city of Mecca, thus making the Hajj pilgrimage more accessible. It was also to assert control over the empire. They only got as far as Medina due to tribal resistance. Hey, Germany and Switzerland? Yeah? What's that? Oh, it's a diesel locomotive. A diesel? No, a diesel.
Diesel.
That Rudolf Diesel guy invented the engine, but he disappeared on a ship.
Oh.
Oh. Anyway, apparently the whole world decided to go to war, and whoa, that's a big gun. And here's a tiny train. Trench railways were built to transport troops and supply food and ammunition to soldiers locked in stalemate-ridden trench battles. Badass-looking armored trains with guns also made an appearance here.
There's this old World War II movie called The Train. I want to say it's from the 1960s. It's in black and white. And they did feature a locomotive that looked something like this, like heavily armored, a bunch of weapons on it. This is my first time seeing a real-life example, though. Here's something we need. The trains of World War I and the trains of World War II. I would so watch that.
Trains with guns also made an appearance here. While fighting on the Eastern Front, Russia finally finished the Trans-Siberian Railway, linking the isolated Siberia with the rest of the country, and America nationalized their railroads and started pumping out standard designs left and right to support the war effort. Alright, the war's over. Hopefully that won't happen again. American locomotives are getting big, thanks to larger fireboxes and superheaters. Also, they denationalized. Here's your railroads back. Thanks again, pal. What the fuck? Britain just grouped 120 railways into 4, and the economy just crashed. The Great Depression hits railroads hard, and people start hopping freight trains to find work in new towns. People are also hopping into automobiles more often as road networks improved and expanded, spelling the eventual demise of many interurbans and tramways. Meanwhile, Soviet engineers copied America's homework and made something bigger and also worse in every way.
Hang on, let's go ahead and read
made
these.
Something bigger and also worse in every.
Derailed frequently, broke tracks and switches, length made it difficult to turn, couldn't fit in a roundhouse, ripped couplers due to power, full steam pressure failed to build up due to huge boiler. Look, I get there's some level of trial and error with engineering things like this, but you literally made it so big it couldn't fit in storage? Man, no wonder these guys keep losing wars.
Way. Whoa. What was that? It was Flying Scotsman, the first steam locomotive to reach.
I do know of the Flying Scotsman. That thing went on a tour here in America and was almost destroyed. Thankfully, it survived, and I believe it still exists somewhere in Europe today.
100 miles per hour. These two might say otherwise, though. While everyone is still depressed, designers fell in love with Art Deco and streamlined a bunch of trains to make them look more modern and aerodynamic.
They are pretty interesting looking.
Trains are going so fast now. The London and Northeastern's Mallard set a speed record for steam at 126 miles per hour, but it broke itself in the process.
Oh.
Still pretty cool though. Back in the US, steam locomotives are going strong and it... Knock knock. It's the diesel locomotive. Many American railroads decided steam was icky and expensive, so diesel started taking over. But not before they built some of the largest steam locomotives ever. Let
me go back a sec.
Over. But not before they built
the Union Pacific Big Boy. I know about this one. This thing is a behemoth. It is a sight to behold. If I remember correctly, the wheels alone on this thing are 6 feet in diameter. The average height in America is about 5'10", 5'11", so the wheels on this thing are bigger than most of you watching. And this thing still operates in America, if I remember correctly, so if you ever get the chance to go see it in person, check it out.
Built some of the largest steam locomotives ever. Oh, great. 3 guys suddenly decided they wanted to take over the world, and now there's a World War II. Railways play a major role in transporting troops and supplies and prove to be a critical target for bomber planes. Armored trains and huge railway guns are deployed into service while the Nazis use trains.
Hang on, can I just...
Armored trains and huge rail...
Sweet mercy! I did not know they made a gun this big. Holy crap. Upon first impressions, I'm assuming this is for taking out skyscrapers. Maybe more realistically, it's for attacking enemy bases and maybe even sinking some boats. I don't know. I knew they made some big guns. I did not know they made them this big.
Railway guns are deployed into service while the Nazis use trains for inhumane purposes. The invading Japanese Empire starts construction of the Burma Railway, and by that I mean they forced abducted civilians and Allied prisoners of war to build the line to supply Japanese forces. Britain uses its trains to evacuate women and children from bomb-targeted cities to rural housing and camps, while Londoners take shelter in subway stations during the Blitz. Around the war's end, a Reverend Wilbur Awdry imagines sentient trains with faces and publishes his first of many children's books. Remember him later.
I grew up with not the books, but the show. I watched the show a lot when I was younger.
British Railways became British Railways, but the Tally-Flynn Railway wasn't included because they kind of forgot about it.
Let me read this.
Railways, but the Tally-Flynn Railway wasn't included because they kind of...
The line was so run down that the stations were marked as disused on maps, and officials already didn't see much profitability left in the struggling railway.
Forgot about it. It then barely survived closure and became the first preserved heritage railway in the world, and kickstarted a movement of people saying, hey, maybe we should preserve this stuff. Meanwhile,
good move, guys.
Argentina's British and French-owned railways are nationalized and they throw a party. And then Germany is divided into East and West, and people start using the Berlin subway to escape from the communist and less prosperous East.
I wouldn't want to live with communists either.
The previously nationalized railway network is also divided. In Canada, Robert Swanson was busy making diesel air horns sound less like this, and more like this. In other
I kind of like the sound of the first one better, but I think the second one being louder, better at warning people, hey, a train's coming. So I can see why we transitioned.
words, he made locomotive horns more musical. This truck trailer is pretty cool, but I wish it could ride on railroad tracks.
Problem solved.
Nice. Oh, hey America, how's it going? Oh, we're doing great. And this here's the love of my life. That's cool, but what happened to the train? The what? Passenger trains were starting to fall out of style as highways and airlines took over the public's fascination, leaving interurbans nearly extinct. Ouch! Dr. Richard Beeching just took an axe to Britain's railways. Africa, tired of being colonized, continues declaring independence, thus taking control of their railways, and then Mauritania builds a railway in the middle of nowhere to get some iron. On August 20th, 1963, the 1,000,000th carload of lettuce departed from the Salinas-Watsonville shipping district in California.
All right, lettuce.
A period of modernization hits
It's good
the
on
world's
burgers.
railways with dieselization, electrification, and other new rolling stock. And then Japan one-ups everyone and builds the first high-speed exclusive rail line. Wow, that's really fast.
Dang, that is fast.
Kinda envious. We gotta make our own super cool fast train. British Rail sends over 200 retired steam locomotives to Barry's scrapyard. But most of them are saved by rail fans for use or display at heritage railways.
Way to go,
Let's
rail
check in on
fans.
the United States. Oh, what the hell? And you got another one in the back? Two American railroads that wanted each other.
You know, this kind of reminds me of something I once heard. I'm going off memory here, so feel free to correct me. There was supposed to be a big expansion of railroads in America, but the oil companies lobbied against it in favor of a National Highway Act. And I do sometimes wonder, where would we be as a country if we had more railroads instead of more highways? Anyway, back to the video.
And you got another one in the back? Two American railroads that wanted each other dead just merged, creating one of the largest networks, and uh-oh, they went big-time bankrupt, and now their trains derail every 3 feet.
Penn Central appeals to the government for help, but it doesn't come in time.
Penn Central basically had no money for the basic upkeep of their railroad. They also ruined the Bangor and Aroo Sticks potato shipping service. Insulated boxcars with heaters ran out of fuel while waiting to be interchanged by Penn Central, thus causing the potatoes to freeze in the cold winter weather and spoil.
Then we're stuck in here.
Barnacles!
Several potato farms went out of business, and those that survived never returned to the railroad again, instead going with trucks. Good job, Penn Central. Nationwide passenger
good
services
job.
were on life support, infrastructure was crumbling, and the public was fed up. This sucks. The government replied, okay, fine, you want your stupid little passenger trains? Here, take this, you frickin' nerd. And they create the nationalized passenger railroad Amtrak to fail.
Actually, hold on. I was about to say something, but it's like he didn't finish the
Take
sentence.
this, you frickin' nerd. And they create the nationalized passenger railroad Amtrak to fail.
To fail. Yeah. As someone who has used Amtrak quite a few times, it sucks. I could actually fill a video with how awful my experiences on Amtrak have been, but we'll save that for another time.
But then it doesn't and saves passenger trains.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on, I thought we were done with the explosion.
Just after 8 yesterday morning, somehow a fire started in the huge Southern Pacific switchyard just south of Roseville.
Dang.
Within minutes,
That's not good.
1973, here, let me, there you guys go. 1973 Roseville Yard explosion, Vietnam War bombs exploded. Wait, hold on. Were they carrying bombs that self-detonated? That's not good.
within minutes,
That's not good.
balls of flame.
Flying Scotsman has the worst vacation ever after traveling to
Yeah?
America.
No, see, I was
and
telling you
almost
guys about
getting
that earlier.
scrapped. The curtain finally falls on the majority of mainline and industrial steam locomotive operations as they're phased out across the world in favor of diesels and electrics. Rhodesia wants some diesels, but the United Nations said no. What did they do? They put on Drake Bell's I Found a Way and illegally imported locomotives from an undisclosed source.
I would love to know more information about that too. How do you smuggle diesel engines? They're huge. I want to know about that.
The Smithsonian Institution pulled Great Grandpa out of retirement to celebrate his 150th birthday. thus making John Bull the oldest operating steam locomotive and self-propelled vehicle in the world at the time. Ding dong, it's the future, and they have floating trains in England. The Birmingham maglev uses repelling magnets to make the train hover. Remember Reverend Wilbur Awdry? Well, his books just got made into a TV show that may or may not become a children's show empire, and one of the reasons you're watching this video.
I would be lying if I said it didn't have a tiny bit of influence on my decision to watch this video.
The US and Soviet Union are still paranoid of each other, so they built some mildly inconspicuous rail cars and trains where nuclear missiles could be launched from. Just in case. In
Just
Canada,
in case.
the government slashes the ever-living hell out of Via Rail's budget year after year, forcing them to cut half their services. India just started up the Lifeline Express, a traveling hospital train where people in areas lacking medical services can get surgeries, medications, screenings, vaccines, and more. Japan is expanding their passenger network with their economic bubble and then they privatize. American railroads are merging like crazy and the New York City subway is covered in graffiti. Germany and its railways were unified. Yay! The Soviet Union broke up and the former republics established their own nationalized rail networks. High-speed rail is growing in Europe, and Britain decides to privatize their railways and make the passenger network really confusing.
Wait, what?
Privatize their railways and make the passenger network really confusing.
Is this actually how it is in the UK? Jeez, I'd never be able to figure this out.
Intermodal container trains are really popping off now, allowing for a more streamlined transfer of freight across the world. I hope you weren't planning on a Nicaraguan train trip because the president just shut most of them down. I want to go from England
Why?
to France, but my train won't flow. Oh, hell yeah. Now, if I had a nickel for every underwater rail tunnel that was opened in 1994, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. China builds one of the world's last revenue-earning steam locomotives, and then the government put their foot down and started investing billions upon billions of dollars to bring the country's railways into the high-speed age. Hey guys, check out my new bullet train. It goes 150 miles per hour, said Amtrak, unveiling America's first proper high-speed train set.
Where is that used exactly? The times I used Amtrak services was when I lived in the southern East Coast. There's no high-speed Amtrak anything as far as I'm aware.
Now, Europe and Asia, don't laugh.
Yeah, I get it. Your trains are faster. But honestly, after what I've been through, I think a lot of Amtrak riders would take what they can get.
It sure is nice riding on Swiss Federal Railways in the year 2005. Hi, Squidward.
A short circuit shut down the entire Swiss railway network for nearly 4 hours, but they recovered by the next day. Ever wanted to share videos of the trains you've seen? With YouTube, now you can. China Railways QJ number 7081 pulls the world's last regularly scheduled steam-powered passenger train. 7081 would later be acquired by the Iowa Interstate Railroad in America. There goes France, setting a new speed record for trains at 357 miles per hour. And then the
Holy
British
crap.
forgot what century it was and built a new steam locomotive for fun. Russia went north to the northern north to build the northernmost railway in the world to get some natural gas. In the north. Let's see how Japan's doing.
They are just absolutely
Wow.
winning.
They really like trains. Also, they have the fastest train in the world now. How fast? At least 10 miles an hour. Step aside, Trans-Siberian Railway. The Yiwu to Madrid railway line just became the longest in the world by completing its first successful round trip, clocking in at 16,156 miles.
Let me take a look at that map
You-
again. Wow. That is a long railroad.
Yiwu to Madrid railway line just became the longest in the world by completing its first successful round trip, clocking in at 16,156 miles. Big Boy makes a comeback. No, the other Big Boy. Union Pacific restored
Yeah,
number 4014
That's what
to
I was
operate
talking
an
about.
excursion
Actually, no, I didn't mention that at all. I was just talking about how big the wheels were. Never mind. Forgive me and my apparent declining short-term memory.
operating steam locomotive in the world. Light rail and other new passenger train systems are on the rise across the world because people realize, hey, these train things are pretty cool. And also, just one more lane, bro, doesn't always help. The COVID-19 pandemic locked down the world and caused ridership on passenger trains to plummet. Services were drastically reduced or temporarily cut with a gradual return in the next couple years. Fed up with their passenger trains sucking and changing owners every few years, the UK decides to renationalize and revert their railways back to British Railways, except more great. China continues expanding their railway network at the speed of sound, and then they finally retire steam locomotives after nearly 150 years. Canadian Pacific and Kansas City Southern merged to create Canadian Pacific Kansas City, and to celebrate, CEO Keith Creel sent CP-2816 on a round trip across Canada, the US, and Mexico to enormous fanfare. It was the first steam locomotive to travel across the 3 countries. Technology is improving, but the globe is heating up. What do we do? Asked the world. I don't know, but here's some hydrogen and battery powered trains that might help. Want to become a train driver? Too late, buddy. A computer might be doing that for you.
I did see that story back a couple years ago. I will say, if there is one mode of transportation that has to be AI, I think it should be trains. Don't get me wrong, I would much prefer people drive these things. The thing is, usually trains stay on the tracks. I feel like that's a much easier job for an AI rather than having a car which is operating on multiple lanes, or say a boat that's going to be heavily impacted by weather conditions, or an airplane for that matter. A train, for the most part, just needs stop and go. Personally, I would never board a train that is AI powered. That's just no. But if we have to have something that's driven by AI, I'd say the trains, because I feel like there's the least likelihood of it being destroyed. Even still, I would 1,000% rather people drive the trains, really. Anyway.
And then Thomas the Tank Engine takes over the world. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching to the end. This was definitely one of my more ambitious projects, and I really do appreciate your patience in waiting for me to finish it. Make sure you check out Bill Wirtz's History of Japan and Entire History of the World, I guess, videos if you haven't already, because those are what inspired me to make this. I'd also like to take this time to thank my channel members. Special thanks to Mooter, who also composed the little jingles you heard throughout the video, so thank you so much for that. And you should go subscribe to him because he makes a lot of good gaming content, and we have a lot of fun doing Let's Plays together. Anyway, Tommy Rosini, Grand Canyon Studios, Amtrak Fan 19, Gojira's Trains, Aaron Forestry YT, Michigan Central Rail Fan, Jacko Beans, Puncake, Jackboy317, and Trains Railfan Gaming 1066 for subscribing to the Conductor tier. Your extra support always does mean a lot. Finally, I'd like to take this time to thank you all once again for 100,000 subscribers, because I'm kind of considering this my 100k special, I guess. Ever since I started watching YouTube some like 16 years ago now, I always wanted to have a channel of my own, and seeing where I've gotten now after 11 years, it still surprises me. Being able to share my interests with all of you has led me to some everlasting friendships, and your support has allowed me to travel the country and help me get by in just day-to-day life, and that's something I'm going to be forever grateful for. Something I've tried doing in more recent times is taking more breaks, and that's allowing me more time to recover mentally, because while making videos is fun, it can also be really just mentally draining and tiring.
I get that.
But in the end, you should make what you want to make and make it how you want to. You don't have to conform to what everyone says, or just because one person doesn't like how you edited a video doesn't mean you have to scrap everything and do exactly what they say. It should be fun, it should be how you want to make it, the video should represent who you are as a person and what you can do with your skill set, but don't forget to take constructive criticism into account. Just make sure you have fun with it and that you're happy with the finished product. Well, I think that's about all I got to say today, so thank you so much again for watching and for 100,000 subscribers, and I'll see you in another video.
Alright, that was good. Congrats on the 100,000 subscribers, dude. Actually, let me check. He's actually at 136,000 by the time I'm watching this. Let me make sure to give the video a like. Everybody make sure you go give the original video a like. I'll leave a link in the description. And I will see you guys later.